All right, at this point we're going to look at taking the carbide nozzle out of the cutting head and also the correct procedure to put a new nozzle into the cutting head. To remove a nozzle that's been used, and again this here is a new nozzle, but just to demonstrate, you're going to back off that O-ring, set that aside, break free the threads, and of course if you're doing this over open tank you want to make sure that nothing falls into the tank, at which point the nozzle is going to be free here, and at which point you can push down and pop the nozzle out, at which point the nozzle and the collet's going to come out. If the collet happens to be stuck down inside the nut, one of the easy things to do is to take your nozzle, put it in backwards, and you can pop that collet out backwards. It's the easiest way to get it out. All right, we're going to start with the simple installing a nozzle into the DiaLine cutting head. Shown here are going to be the three nozzle nuts that we talked about, all of which are going to install the exact same way. We're all going to come with a collet, and we got our cutting head here. Shown is going to be a 281 with the standard nut, standard abrasive inlet. The collet is going to have a tapered side and kind of a fat side. The fat side always faces up towards the cutting head, as with any collet. So we're simply going to push that up onto the cutting head. At this point, the head may be on your machine. For this demonstration, it won't be. You're going to want to push that nozzle into the head, making sure that it's pushed up all the way against the stop, at which point you're going to push the collet all the way up against the head. At that point, you can kind of let loose, put the nozzle nut on. At this point, ensuring that everything is being held in, tighten the nut, and simply at this point, hand tighten as hard as you can. Please don't do a wrench, and quite frankly, that's all you need to hold the nozzle in against any pressure. All DiaLines are going to come with a thicker O-ring. Simply put, you can see there's going to be a gap here between the cutting head and the nozzle nut. What we're going to do is simply put that O-ring over that groove, and all it does is prevent abrasive and any debris that's around the head from getting in and gumming up the threads. All right, at this point, all you need to do is follow your standard procedures to put your cutting head back on your machine.